I decided to play a full season of NFL head coach. Here's how my experience went. Before you begin, you must create your coach. It gives you an option to select your previous job, an offense or defensive coordinator, no love for special teams, and that will determine where your strengths will be. I chose defensive coordinator. They then give a hype video implying that you're the reason why the Steelers won the Super Bowl that year, and label you a defensive guru. Then you must give your information and select your appearance. It's much more detailed than a basic character model. You still get a basic character model, but you can adjust your coach's face and play with it like putty, as well as change his attire, since you will be looking at him a lot in this game. It's not super detailed, but it's enough. Once you confirm your creation, Trey Wingo does another video package talking about which team will get the hottest new coach. Then the interview process begins. You get a call team that you're most interested in joining. I called the Buccaneers to set up an interview, and here is where you are given questions to answer, and they affect your final ratings going into the season. Once the interview is over, you have a choice between 5 teams, the first being the team you called, and the other 4 are random teams that could use your help. I accepted the Rams. They have a solid offense, and as a defensive-minded coach, I figure I should be able to help. After selecting your team, you'll be having a meeting or orientation with the owner, who will tell you what he expects and gives you a basic tutorial of how the game works. Now the real coaching begins. The team is ours, and we have to decide who to keep or let go. We can go into our computer to check our staff roster, and I felt like our offensive coordinator wasn't great. Good quarterbacks coach, but not a great coordinator. Also, Jim Haslett was the defensive coordinator, but was much better suited for the offensive coordinator position. Unfortunately, you can't change their jobs, only promote positional coaches to coordinators. I also felt like our positional coaches were all good except for the running backs coach. So as my first move, fired Greg Olson in front of everyone. I also fired the running backs coach, and I also let Jim Haslett go while everyone else was retained. Now we have to fill out the holes I made from firing the staff and re-signing coaches who need a new contract. Judge Garrett, tight ends coach, needed a new contract. Very simple process. They have a asking price. You can either lowball them or give them what they want, and I gave him what he wanted. In order to find a new staff, though, you must look for them in the directory and set up an interview. You can't see their ratings, only their highest stat in their previous job. It's a little needle in a haystack situation. One of the coaches I looked into for the offense coordinator job was Cody Smith. The interview process is very vague. You ask about certain philosophies and what they think about certain positions, then you offer them the job based on that. I run a balanced offense while Smith runs a vertical offense, and I passed on him. You can't choose what position you want to hire the coaches for and just have to hope that they are what you want. I thought he was going to be the defensive coordinator. I did bring back Jim Haslett to interview for the offensive coordinator spot, and I hired him. I wanted him to be the offensive coordinator since I fired him. You also get emails from the scout team on what coaches to look into for certain positions, which is helpful. I interviewed both the Willis Jones and Roe Ryder for the running back spot based on these recommendations, and I ended up hiring Ryder. I mentioned it earlier, but this email suggests that it might be better to promote positional coaches to coordinators, and I went ahead and promoted Brian Baker to the defensive coordinator spot. You still have to talk to him, but similar to Judge Jarrett, you're just talking salary, and it was pretty simple. I did need to sign a defensive line coach now, and the owner wasn't happy that I didn't fill out all the staff before our meeting. He then talked to us about free agency happening soon, restricted free agents, and signing our own guys. We do have 3 restricted free agents, and other than Sean McDonald, they're most likely going to get the lowest offer. We do have a holdout in Mark Bolger. I think we might have enough money to give him a new contract, while we do have some unrestricted free agents, and it seems like the offseason is about to go underway. The game does give you a list of players you should resign. It's up to me to decide if I really need them. During the staff meeting, you will talk to your position coaches about players on that list, and if we should resign them, keep them on the list, or move on and remove them from the list. I kept them all. The other thing I'll be doing during the offseason leading up to the draft is scouting. My scouting director will give us a quick tutorial of how it works. It's very simple. There are 3 scouting phases: poorly scouted, scouted, and well scouted. Poorly scouted players are widely ranged, while it narrows down in scouted, and well scouted players reveal their true ratings and the range of their potential. The goal is to get as many well-scouted players before the draft, but since there's so many players, I'm really not going to show you who I scouted until you see their ratings when I pick them up in the draft. Back to the re-signing of our players, one player on the list was Isaac Bruce. He was our second best player behind Torrey Holt. He was really expensive, but we have the cap to spend, so I didn't mind. Another player on the list was Cody Pickett, and he's the best defensive tackle we have. Pretty obvious signing to make. He's returning. You can only sign 3 players at a time. I decided the last one during this session will be potentially one of our best players, Adam Archuleta. No-brainer move, he's returning. We still have a hole at defensive line coach, so I scheduled an interview with Greg Williams. Yes, that Greg Williams. I hired him for the job, and it turns out his specialty is the offensive line and not D-line. To be fair, it did tell me it was his best rating. Just figured the defensive coordinator would have good defensive stats. Back to signing our players, I made my first restricted free agent offer to DYN Gross. I gave him the bare minimum. I also looked into Rex Tucker, who was on our list. His ceiling really high, but I gave him a 2-year offer over the 3 that he wanted. We do have one person we can sign this session, and I went center. 2 good players in Newton and McCollin. I went with the younger guy, Newton, who's 34, over McCollin, 36. There was one other player I did resign during the resigning period, and that was middle linebacker. Resigned Trev Falk. I also looked into Mark Bulger's holdout. We got $40 million in cap. I gave him a new contract, figured we could afford it. I achieved my goals of re-signing everyone on the list, and after this week, we'll finally be able to offer contracts to other restricted free agents. But before that, we must do more scouting, and that's what this meeting is about with the staff. Each positional coach will suggest a player to scout this week, and you can either accept or decline. I accepted them all. It gives me positive points with my staff, and I really don't see a downfall against it. Here's the scouting director talking to me about the players in the draft. It's not really that important, but this week it's a little different. Last time I was scouting players and getting their numbers revealed. This time we have to wait after the combine to see their reports. I selected 25 players, including the staff picks, and as I waited for the results, I offered McDonald, our 3rd best receiver, an offer. He was a restricted free agent. We're finally at the restricted free agents offerings. I had my eye on one player, Robert Mathis. They wanted a 1st and 3rd, and I wanted to punch him in the face. I have no doubt he's good, but I really value draft picks for my first season. I passed. I also looked at Pittsburgh for help at cornerback. They wanted a 1st for Ike Taylor, and again, that's a little too rich for my blood. I passed. The scouting director came back with the report cards for all the players we scouted earlier. Here they are, and detailed information about how well a player performed. It's interesting to see the detail they put into the game, but at the same time, I'd rather just look at their numbers. Speaking of numbers, we did some more scouting. When you do all the objectives that they want you to do, such as signing the key players, they give a prompt for you to skip forward, indicating that you've done everything and you can skip to the next main objective, which I did, and I shouldn't have, as I was no longer able to scout any more players in the draft. In free agency, I signed 12 players to the roster to fill it up. 9 of them will be depth players, a body just to fill out the roster. There are some noticeable names like James Harrison, Jason Peters, Jeff George. The other 3 are penciled in as starters for now, but we'll see after the draft. Lenny Walls was signed originally as just depth, then it turned out he was the highest rated player at cornerback. That might be a problem. Scott Player will be our new punter going into the season, while John Mozzarella Perella is currently the starting right end. But there's a guy in the draft by the name of Mario Williams that I'm hoping slips to me. Free agency wasn't over, as there were a few trade offers I got. The Colts wanted to trade Dallas Clark to me for Rex Tucker. I had re-signed Tucker earlier this offseason, but I honestly didn't want to because I felt his backup was decent enough. I told the Colts, throw in a 5th round pick, and the deal was done. The Raiders wanted to trade Derek Burgess for Mark Bulger. Bulger was holding out at the start of the offseason, and had I not given him a new contract, I would have jumped all over it. I passed on the trade. The final offer was from the Jaguars, who were also interested in Bulger. They figured we need a quarterback to replace Bulger, so they offered Leftwich. I see this game as not afraid to try and rip people off.
Welcome to the 2006 NFL Draft.
What an exciting draft, folks. We're going to look back on this draft one day and complete all. Having two teammates, Bush and Leinart, going to top 10 is unheard of. The USC football program is loving it. Also, in addition to the three Trojans, we have Vince Young. Some teams love him. Some teams don't even think he'll be a quarterback in 3 years. Many questions surround the game-breaking Vince Young, and it should be interesting to see who snags him. We also have a couple of spectacular ACC athletes this year in Mario Williams and Vernon Davis. Williams, a defensive end from NC State, and Davis, a tight end from Maryland, are both amazing physical specimens. Let's tune in now to hear the first pick.
We're now off to the draft. I currently have the 11th pick, and the guy I wanted most, Mario Williams, wasn't available. I was able to fill a position of need at free safety with Jason Allen, who might be a stud. In the second round, I really wanted Jonathan Joseph, but again, a player I wanted was taken by the NFC North. I ended up settling on DeQuell Jackson, who will most likely be a backup his first few seasons. My backup plan, if I missed on Williams, was Doomerville in the third, but the Packers decided to pick him up. They don't even need him. So I ended up picking Andrew Whitworth in the third. During the draft, you can get opinions on who to draft from your scout director. He thought in the fourth we should select Brandon Marshall, which I was considering, but I noticed some sass in his response, so I drafted Maurice Drew. Marshall Faulk is still on the team, and I think he'd replace him nicely. I'm starting to realize the SD stands for SAS Director. In the fifth round, I selected Owen Daniels to pair up with Dallas Clark. This guy is a bit of a sassy McSass. With the second fifth round pick that we got from the Colts trade, we selected Ryan Cook. In the sixth round, I decided, fine, we'll draft whoever you want, and selected a wide receiver. And in the final round, this guy really made me seem like a dick, but we also selected who he wanted. There were a total of 8 players selected in the draft, 2 of which were in the 5th round, but our first round pick, Jason Allen, will be the player that defines this draft for me, while every other player I drafted will basically be fighting for a backup spot. I did sign them all to contracts. There were no predetermined rookie contracts at the time, so they have to show me if they are worth the money in training camp. There are multiple drills, 1-on-1, 8-on-8, and full contact 11-on-11, where you choose first, second, or third team offense to go up against first, second, or third team defense. While the 1-on-1, you choose specific players on both sides of the ball. Each drill helps the player improve their ratings and hopefully reach their full potential before their next game. Running the same play multiple times in training camp also increases its percentage as a money play, and when it hits 100%, players get a boost while running this play in game action. There are 4 weeks of training camp. I did 1 week, and that took an hour to do, and to be honest, I simulated the next 3 weeks, each week having injuries that didn't occur when I did the practices on my own. There were 4 serious injuries, and we lost 3 starters. No more simulating for me, but the good news, we're finally in our first preseason game. I get to see if my moves this offseason were any good, and on the first drive of the game, the Rams have the ball and Bulger is sacked. If only we had a right tackle. When the Colts had the ball, they made it look easy moving on my defense. Check down passes going for big gains, handoffs would be broken off for big runs. The team couldn't tackle anyone, and it's like the Colts were covered with baby oil. They were able to move it down to the 6-yard line, and they handed off to Rhodes, and the defense showed their inability to tackle once again. Colts up 7-0. How do the Rams answer back? Bulger, play action, defense bites on it, and Kevin Curtis is wide open down the middle. He gone. 1 play and it's all tied up at 7. We skip to the second quarter, game still tied at 7, Rams with the ball, and we know they can score at any moment on a big play. But not if Jason David has anything to say about it, as he picks off Bulger, giving the Colts good position for points. And if there's one thing you don't want to do is give Peyton Manning short field and he finds a wide open Marvin Harrison, it's like he had a restraining order on this defense. Nobody was around him. They're up 14-7. We skip to the final minute of the first half. Colts added a field goal to be up 17-7, and for the first time today we get to see Dallas Clark make a catch against his former team and a face mask. It puts them in good field position to get some points, but Bulger doesn't want some points, he wants them all, as he hits Isaac Bruce, who we re-signed this offseason. My moves working out well so far. Rams down by 3. 2-minute warning still isn't over yet. The Rams managed to get the ball back again, and Bulger finds Holt for the first and another face mask, which would lead to a game-tying field goal before the half. It's all tied at 17 after being down by 10 in the final minute of this quarter. At one point in the second half, as I was realizing this game was way more detailed than I thought it was, with the ability to tell players how to play their position, the Colts had punted, but we must have fumbled it because when I came back, they had the ball again. Thankfully, the defense came in big on third down. After a rough first drive, they performed well, forcing the Colts to kick a field goal even with a short field. Fast forward towards the end of the third, the Rams were moving the ball well. Bulger stands in the pocket and takes a hit as he finds Clark to get him to the red zone. We're now in the fourth quarter. They're only down by 3, and Bulger sets up the play action and throws over the middle to Bob Sanders. Colts defense takes it away again. Now the Colts were up at one point 17-7, but have only scored 3 points since then, and Manning threw a duck that gets picked off by Demetrius Butler, and nobody's going to catch him, and just like that, the Rams have the lead for the first time today. The Rams added another field goal, and in the final seconds, Colts have one last chance to at least tie it, and Butler picks off Manning again to seal the win. Down 17-7, they outscored the Colts 20-3. The defense is looking good, but it is just the preseason. The running game wasn't very successful against the Colts, and I made it clear to Roe Ryder that it needs to be better. On a side note, Lenny Walls is getting healthier, but I am still going to be without him and 3 others this week. Different week, same thing. At the start of the second preseason game against Houston, and they're already moving it on them easily. The team can't make tackles and unable to get pressure. The Texans marched into the red zone, and on 1st and goal, Dominic Davis looked like he was going to get an easy touchdown, but tackled short at the goal line. And on 2nd down, the Rams blew it up at the line by DeQuell Jackson. Can they get the defensive stand? They run it again, but Chillar would bring him down behind the line, forcing the Texans to settle for 3 points. Later in the first, Rams unable to move the ball down the field with Jeff George leading the offense, and they punted away. Scott Player is the new punter for the team, and there is no fair catch, can't make someone miss, but he fumbles the ball and it's picked up by Chris Claiborne for the touchdown. Or it would have been a touchdown. After a review, it was determined that the runner was down by contact. The Texans keep the ball, and on the very first play of the drive, Carr dropped back, throws deep, and it's picked off by, yes, you guessed it, Demetrius Butler. They move into a goal line situation. Steven Jackson takes the handoff, and it looked like he was going to get in, but stopped. Can the Texans do what the Rams did to them? Jeff George tries to sneak it, but Houston denies him the score. 3rd and goal. They don't run, but pass, and George sails it too high, which forces them to kick the field goal to tie it at 3. We move over to the middle of the second quarter. Houston added a field goal to be up by 3, and Steven Jackson takes it to the left, and he breaks free. Last week, the team could barely run the ball. This week, they broke 1 for 6. Rams now lead 10-6. In the final minute of the half, Rams have the ball again. George throws it to Holt on a screen pass, who breaks one to get into the end zone, but fumbles it. Under review, it is overturned, and they keep the ball. A few plays later, 3rd down, 19 seconds left, and George throws what should be an interception. It's the preseason. They want to see how their 4th down offense is, and they hand it off to Marshall Faulk, and he's tackled behind the line. Turnover on downs. We now go to the middle of the third quarter. Score is still the same, and the Rams try a fake punt, but the Texans were all over it. They stop them. Last time the Texans were in a goal-to-go situation, the Rams stuffed them, and just like on this play, the Texans weren't able to punch it in last time, and it doesn't look like they're going to be able to do it this time. Last time they were stuffed at the 1, this time they stuffed them at the 3, forcing another field goal to be down by 1. We move to the fourth quarter. Rams extend their lead with a field goal, and Ryan Fitzpatrick is now on the field, but Fitztragic showed up and turns it over. Can this defense do it again? Backups and third stringers on the field, and Andre Johnson wide open, stretched out for the touchdown. Texans have a 16-13 lead now in what could be the game-winning drive. To keep the drive going on third down, Fitzpatrick hits his receiver 1 yard short of the first. The game comes down to this: 4th and 1, but a Texans defender jumps offside, giving the Rams hope. A play later, Fitzpatrick gets hit as he throws and gets close to midfield. The following play, he has plenty of time in the pocket, moves out and floats one to Kevin Curtis. They're in field goal range now. Third down, a minute to go in the game. Fitzpatrick finds Owen Daniels over the middle for the first. Now a play later, play action, Fitzpatrick to Daniels again to get them closer. Not a lot of time left. Third down, they hand it off to Avion Cason, and he squeezes for the first. The time is still ticking. They have all 3 timeouts, and they do a fake spike, but they didn't fool anyone. Sacked. And now it comes down to this: 2 seconds left in the game, play action, throws, and over everyone's head. The Rams lose, but it's just the preseason, and I think some of the backups played well. After the second preseason game, the quarterback's coach admits the backups didn't play fantastically, and after a week of practice, Jim Haslett basically told me our offense is mailing it in this week. I got mad, obviously. It's his job to get them ready, while Ro Ryder, the running backs coach, was talking shit about our linebackers. He's the running backs coach. Worry about your own business. Because other than that one big run by Jackson, they didn't really do much. Now, going into the third preseason game, Lenny Walls is almost completely healthy, but will be sitting out this week and will most likely be ready for the season opener, while Tino Isamoa will be back this week playing and shaking off some of the rust. Linebacker is our biggest strength, so I don't know what the hell Ro Ryder was talking about. So we begin the third preseason game with a punt from Scott Player. He has a strong leg and the accuracy to nail beautiful kicks like this one, forcing the Chiefs to start inside their 5. Kansas City was able to move the ball closer to their own 30, and Trent Green looking for someone to throw to, and he finds our first round pick, Jason Allen. That would be the last time the starting defense was on the field, as Steven Jackson takes the pitch to the outside for a decent run. Next play, play action, pressure getting there, but Bolger is cool under pressure for the first. A few plays later, 3rd and long, Bolger steps up in the pocket and finds Kevin Curtis, but falls inches short. They're going to go for it. They weren't too successful last week, but they convert this one today. Last time they were this close to the end zone, they couldn't get in, but Bolger tries to do it himself, and he needs to learn to slide. 3rd and 3, and they hand it to Jackson, but falls a yard short. They already went for it once, why not do it again? This time untouched into the end zone, giving the Rams the early lead. That would be the last time the starters were on the field. The backup defense is in there for the Rams, and Tony Gonzalez makes a spectacular catch in triple coverage. The Chiefs are now in St. Louis territory, and Green throws deep to Parker, almost picked off by Itagwe. Did I mention the backups are in the game? Jeff George and the second team offense is now out on the field. He has not been fantastic so far, and he continues to not be fantastic. Did I mention the backups are in the game? First play after the turnover, and Green finds Parker again, this time on the out route, and they take the lead 14-7. Did I mention the backups are in the game? We haven't heard much from Maurice Jones-Drew, but here he is on the kick return. He has excellent blocking, room to make moves, breaks the tackle, and brought down by the face mask, putting them in great position. But we still have Jeff George as a quarterback, and somehow gets this pass off and caught by Kevin Curtis for the first. The drive would stall after forcing them to kick a field goal to cut the lead to 4. Very quickly, wanted to show how bad the backups are. We're in danger if any of the starters go down. This was supposed to be a handoff. We now fast forward to the final 2 minutes. Score still the same. Chiefs ball, 3rd down. If they convert, game's over. They pitch it to Priest Holmes, and he's tackled at the line by the Juan Gross. It's Ryan Fitzpatrick's chance to show he can be a better backup than Jeff George. He throws deep into triple coverage, and Fitztragic showed up. That would end the game, and if I learned anything, it's that we need to stay healthy. After the 3rd preseason game, it was unanimous by the entire offensive staff that we sucked at quarterback, at running back, at receiver, the offensive line, but I gave the offensive line some love. They tried, but they still suck. The special teams coach wanted to replace Maurice Jones-Drew as kick returner, and I said no, we're keeping him there. I also said goodbye to Jeff George. He was just too bad, and I decided to go pick up a younger player to develop. Ryan Gilbert will be our emergency 3rd string quarterback. Looking to the final preseason game, Jim Haslett basically said the backs aren't ready to go and that our secondary is trash at the moment. Why are people questioning my defensive guru-ness? But our defensive coordinator said he believes in the pass defense, which should be good enough. Let's see who's right. This is the final game, so all the backups will be playing, no starters, and just like against the Indianapolis Colts and the Houston Texans, the Dolphins moved the ball very easily on this defense, being led by Jay Cutler and Ronnie Brown, with the drive being capped off by this touchdown pass from Cutler to Morris to get the first points in the game. The Rams have their chance to answer back with the new backup, Ryan Fitzpatrick, and he finds Torrey Holt deep for a big play. But the drive did stall, and they ended up kicking a field goal. We moved to the second quarter. Rams managed to kick another field goal close to the 2-minute warning. Dolphins have the ball near midfield, and Cutler has time in the pocket, throws it deep to Brian Gilmore, who was wide open. Looks like Haslett might have been right. Last week, Maurice Jones-Drew had a big kick return, and this week he tries to give his team a spark, and I can't believe the special teams coach wanted to bench him. He takes this one all the way for a score to keep it close by 1 point. Now, in the second half, first play in the 3rd quarter, Cutler has great protection, throws to Marty Booker on an out, and nobody's going to touch him. He outran everyone, and just like that, they score. This might be a scary team. After a 3-and-out, Dolphins have the ball back near midfield. Cutler throws deep, but Chambers breaks a tackle, and he gone. The secondary is struggling. Again, the Dolphins have the ball back at midfield. Cutler throws off his back foot and picked off by Bartell. The defense finally comes up with a play, but like most of this game, the offense can't get anything going. Ryan Gilbert throws it deep and just overthrew his guy. They give it right back to Miami. The Dolphins have the ball once again in good position, and Cutler finds David Boston wide open for another score. That was it. The Rams lost another game, and the backups looked really bad. But next week, the real season begins. That last game was a disaster, and the quarterback's coach and the running back's coach, they agree. It wasn't their best game, and the defensive backs coach also decided to piss me off by saying the secondary did well this last week. Then he backed up and said never mind. The linebackers coach did think we were ass, so I think I can trust him. If there is one thing that a week of practice did before the season opener, it's that we're all on agreement that our wide receivers should blow up. But Greg Williams doesn't think that the defensive line will be ready, but we'll see. Also, our second round pick, DeQuell Jackson, will be starting, as Chris Claiborne has just not been playing well. While our defensive backs coach is happy to say Arturo Freeman, the strong safety, will be ready for the season opener, but he still sucks. First game of my career, and the Broncos have the ball, play action, Plummer throws deep, and Freeman and Allen can't cover that much better, but still caught. A play later, play action, Plummer goes deep to Smith and caught over Arturo Freeman. The Broncos get the first touchdown in the game, and after that drive, I sat Freeman and started Lenny Walls, who was supposed to be our third corner, but we need help back there. We were talking about how our receivers were going to have a great game, but teams need to remember we still have Steven Jackson, and he's pretty good. The drive would stall out after the big run, but points are points, and there's 3 right there. The Broncos have the ball back, and just like last time, they do it again. Plummer throws it deep, and the safeties can't cover it. They're at midfield, they do a draw up the middle. This defense tightens up a bit, but a penalty would give them better position, which would lead to a field goal by the Broncos, giving them back a 1-touchdown lead. The last time the Rams had the ball, they were going to move it on the ground. This time, great protection. Bulger throws it deep, not to Torrey Holt, but to Isaac Bruce for a big gain. He may not be as good as Holt, but he's definitely Bulger's favorite target on this drive. Just don't forget that they still have that weapon in Jackson as their running back. This offense is absolutely stacked. The drive would go into the second quarter, 3rd and goal. They play action it, and Bulger finds his guy, Isaac Bruce, for the first touchdown of the season. They tie the game at 10. The Broncos now have a chance to regain the lead at midfield. Then it's picked off by Travis Fisher. Defense is starting to lock down after Lenny Walls came into the game. After the turnover, Rams looking to get their first lead in the game. Bulger throws off his back foot, and this is why Torrey Holt is our number 1. He can score from wherever on the field. They take the lead 17-10. We skip to the final 2 minutes, and the defensive line has been pretty good today. Leonard Little putting in the work. The Rams were able to get the ball back with time, but couldn't do anything with it, and they would punt it back, but this was an absolute dime of a kick placed inside their 1. There's still time left on the clock, and they hand it off, and Ryan Pickett is the first defender there, but Coakley finishes the tackle for a safety. They now have a 9-point lead. The half isn't over yet. The Rams think they can still get some points before the end of the half. Then it's intercepted. He has no one in front of him. He can go all the way. McDonald is chasing from behind. He taunts and tackled before the goal line. They said he didn't get in, and that's how the first half would come to an end. Second half, Broncos have a chance to try and shorten the Rams' lead, and Plummer has been tearing up the safeties for big gains. Another 3rd down near midfield. They pitch it to Bell, who gets good blocking. This offense has weapons, but mistakes have hurt them. They were able to drive down the field. They can get some points here, but picked off by Dexter Coakley, who had the safety in the first half. Neither team able to get much going. Now at the bottom of the 3rd, and Plummer hits Smith beyond the sticks for a first. They're trying to rally back, and Plummer completes another one close to the sticks. Even on 2nd and short, they decide to pass for a first, and they get it. They're driving once again, pitch to Mike Anderson, who's not an easy guy to bring down. Very talented team, but turnovers have put them in a hole as Bell gets the first. The drive would end up stalling out, but had they gotten that touchdown before the half, they'd have the lead right now. The Broncos find themselves down by 6 points. Still a close game. Jones-Drew back to return the kick, and he had a return for a touchdown in the preseason. He decided he wanted one in the regular season too. The Rams lead 25-13. They do go for it to make it a 14-point game, and a easy pitch and catch to Owen Daniels for the conversion. We skip to the 4th quarter. Denver is running out of time. 4th down to keep the game alive, and knocked out by Travis Fisher. The Rams defense has been doing a great job. Denver is in panic mode. Plummer throws deep and is picked off by Lenny Walls, who came in to replace Arturo Freeman, who allowed the only touchdown on them today. At this point, they're running out the clock, and Jones-Drew breaks a couple of tackles and gets the first. On 3rd down, a first will end the game, and Bulger says, "Screw the first, I want the score." At this point, they can kneel, but instead, Jones-Drew gets his first career rushing touchdown, and the game is over. I won my first game as an NFL head coach in my debut, 34-13 over the Broncos.
The coach had earned win number 1, a day in his life that he would always treasure. This was his initial taste of victory as a head coach, and his first step on the journey toward becoming the greatest coach of all time. It was a solitary event, a pure moment, but it was only the beginning.
I think after that last game, Lenny Walls has earned the right to be the starting strong safety from here on out. As usual, the coaches think our passing game will go off while the defensive coordinator thinks our corners are going to shut down the 49ers this week. The first division game of the year, can we go 2-0? We start in the middle of the first at midfield, third down, and off play action, Bulger finds Dallas Clark for the first. A few plays later, just outside the red zone, and Bulger once again finds Dallas Clark wide open but tackled short of the end zone. The Rams were moving the ball pretty easily, and Bulger finds Isaac Bruce wide open for a touchdown. Towards the end of the first, the Rams have the ball again. Bulger moves to his right and throws, but it's picked off by Ahmed Plummer. The 49ers haven't had much going, and Alex Smith just chucks the ball deep, and there's about 3 defenders there, but it's still somehow caught. Start of the second quarter, and Smith somehow gets the ball off on target to his back for a walk-in touchdown to tie the game at 7. Neither team has been able to do much, and last week the Rams had a stellar punt from Player, and he does it again this week. 49ers in a tough position, they run it, but blown up by Pickett for a second safety in back-to-back weeks. After the kick from the safety, the Rams had the ball at midfield, good position to add some points before the half, and Bulger throws it deep, and a pass interference call will place the ball at the 1. They had no problem last week running it in, but stuffed on first down. Second down, Bulger tries to take it in himself, but stuffed at the line. One more chance to get it in, and Jackson is stuffed at the line again, forcing the Rams to kick a field goal to go up 12-7. The 49ers now have a chance to get the lead, and if there was anything that would make me think it was going to be a long game, it was this play. Tipped and still caught for a big gain. Alex Smith has been cooking lately, and with that much time, he's picking up steam, connecting on this pass for the first. The next play, Smith would dump it off to his tight end, and he would do the rest of the work, breaking tackles for the score. They lead 14-12. Can the Rams answer back? Bulger has time, throws off balance, and it's picked off, and unlike last week, the time expiring isn't going to help him, but it doesn't matter as it's brought back for a touchdown. The Rams are struggling to get anything going, but Bulger finds McDonald to get them to midfield. They weren't able to do much after that, so the final play of the half, Bulger just tosses it up there, and it's picked off again, his third in the half. The difference in Bulger and Smith has been apparent, and on third down in the third quarter, Smith throws a dime to battle to get them in midfield. Another moment where I thought it was gonna be a long day was a broken play turned into Alex Smith outrunning the entire defense for another touchdown to go up 28-12. We skip to later in the third. Rams managed to kick a field goal, now have the ball back. Bulger finds Holt over the middle, and now this could be a game again. A play later, Bulger looks to be panicking in the pocket, throws deep, throws the ball for his 4th interception on the day. The 49ers don't look to be slowing down, at least not Alex Smith, as he just tosses this one deep, and our defensive coordinator is going to get an earful. This passing offense has been on point, but for the first time today, Smith throws an interception. Travis Fisher with his 2nd on the year. If the Rams want to make this a game, they need to score on this drive as Bulger finds Bruce for the first. The following play, the offensive line gives Bulger time to throw, and he finds his fullback. Lucky it wasn't picked off. They're getting into a groove. Play action, Bulger throws on a rope, and it's easy to cut off for his 5th interception this game. The 49ers look to have won this easily after that rough start. Smith with another completion. He has looked like a Hall of Famer out there, and this secondary has been on its heels all game as he completes another big pass here. The 49ers marched all the way down into the red zone. They hand it off, going pretty much untouched until he hit the goal line. They lead 35-15. The Rams did find their way into the red zone, and Bulger looks rushed, throws off balanced and short, picked off for the 6th time today. This was a terrible performance, and the coaches are going to get an earful from me. After that dumpster fire of a game we had, our defensive backs coach decided now was the time to say the defense was outstanding, especially the pass defense. After some yelling, he then decided to take it back and say the secondary was porous. After a week of practice, once again, the consensus is that our wide receivers are good. Even the wide receivers coach jumps on board. It's up to Bulger not to throw the game away. Funny enough, Haslett thought Steven Jackson was mid. I gave him an earful for that. Our defensive coordinator said our secondary should match up well. That sounds familiar. Before we start week 3, Ryan Cook has taken over for Newton, who has somehow regressed pretty hard. We have our second straight division game. Let's get back above 500. The Rams had the ball first, and on first down, Bulger throws deep and it's intercepted, his 8th on the year. Should I be worried? Arizona slowly marches down after the interception, and on 3rd and 2, McCown finds Fitzgerald to get into the red zone. On the 10-yard line, 2nd down, and McCown has plenty of time, throws down the middle, tipped and picked off by Jason Allen. We skip to later in the 1st, the Rams unable to do anything off the interception. McCown throws deep but low, and it's picked off by Travis Fisher for his 3rd on the year and brought back for the first score in the game. Still in the 1st, the Rams have the ball back. Bulger throws from the pocket and finds Dallas Clark for a big completion. Now, Jim Haslett wanted us to continue to pass, but I didn't trust Bulger, and I just really wanted some points for the offense, so I chose a simple run. Turns out Steven Jackson really can turn any play into a touchdown. Rams up 14-0. We're now in the 2nd quarter. Rams managed to add a field goal to their score, and Bulger would find Isaac Bruce for a deep strike for his 3rd touchdown on the year. Rams now lead 24-0, and it looks like Bulger might be back. Once again, Rams have the ball, and Bulger threads the needle to Bruce for a big gain. Remember, they still have Steven Jackson, and he's a man amongst boys out there. Same drive, march down to the goal line, and Jackson easily takes it in to extend the lead 31-0. We skip to the bottom of the 3rd. Rams added 3 more points. McCown is picked off for the 3rd time today by Jeremitrius Butler. We're now in the 4th. Rams offense is just running the clock, and the defense is holding strong, and they do it again, picking off McCown for the 4th time, 2nd by Butler. The Rams are just trying to run the clock, but on this play, Bulger finds Torrey Holt wide open. Nobody gonna catch him. They extend the lead 41-0. Arizona hasn't been able to get anything going since that first drive, but they complete the pass here to get back into the red zone. A play later, McCown, looking to make something happen, takes it himself, stiff arms a defender, and tackled in for the score. So I won my 2nd game very easily, and the 1st on the road. This might end up being a roller coaster of a season, so buckle up, cause the ride just started. After last week's thrashing, there was praise to go around, especially for the running game. And to be clear, the running game has been solid so far this year. We just haven't ran enough. Though our defensive backs coach was giving me shit over motivating the secondary, which is odd because the week before against the 49ers, yeah, they turned to toast. While Greg Williams was proud of his work on the defensive line, we really needed a win like this after that blowout against the 49ers. With the next game against the Lions coming up, Jim Haslett continues to doubt Steven Jackson, doesn't think our running game will be good this week, while our wide receivers coach continues to talk up the receivers group, which doesn't surprise me. What does surprise me is for the 3rd time this season, our defensive coordinator thinks our secondary is better than Detroit's receivers. They were last week, but can they be consistent? First quarter of the season has been up and down for Mark Bulger, but he completes this one to Kevin Curtis. Near midfield, same drive, Bulger has plenty of time in the pocket and throws to the flat and picked off. Up and down, up and down. Detroit has a short field to work with. Jeff Garcia, the quarterback, finds Mike Williams for a new set of downs. Next play, they pitch it to Kevin Jones, who outruns one guy, stiff arms another, and downed after 8 on the carry. 2nd and short, they play action, and Garcia takes a big hit as he lets it go to Pollard. 2nd and goal, Garcia, play action, plenty of time, finds Roy Williams in the back of the end zone, initially called incomplete. A review would overturn it, and Detroit is up 7-0. The Rams need to find a way to answer back as Bulger finds Curtis over the middle to get past midfield. A play later, Bulger would find Holt on a drag route to get the first on third. Another third down on the drive, Bulger would throw it deep to Isaac Bruce, who comes down with it in traffic but fumbles it and recovers it himself for a touchdown. Under review, it was revealed he was down before the ball came out, which then begs the question, was it a completed pass? That wasn't reviewed, so the Rams have the ball at the 1. Last week, they didn't struggle to punch it in, but they do here. Second down, back to Jackson on the counter, but can't get it in. This time, they give it to the fullback and he gets in, but again, under further review, they decided he wasn't. The Rams go for it on 4th down. Bulger sneaks it in and ties the game at 7. Something interesting happened right before the half. Both teams kicked the field goal to tie at 10, and on this punt return there was interference to give the Rams good field position for, at the very least, a field goal. So they run the ball twice, and on the second attempt, Jackson fumbles it and it's recovered by Detroit. On the first play of the Detroit drive, Garcia finds Williams in tight coverage to get into field goal range. They call timeout and kick it from there to go up 13-10 with 1 second left. Then on the ensuing kickoff, Detroit would kick it out of bounds, giving the Rams the ball at the 40 with 1 second still on the clock. So the final play of the first half, Bulger moves to his right, throws deep, and pass interference on the defense, which would set up a field goal by the Rams to tie the game at 13 going into the half. We start the second half with the Rams. Bulger throws it deep to Bruce, who made a spectacular catch in the first and does it again here. The following play, they pitch it to Jackson, who stiff arms a grown man, runs over another for the first down. A few plays later, 3rd and 2, Bulger play action and finds a wide open Dallas Clark in the end zone to give them their first lead, 20-13. Detroit's chance to answer back, play action. Garcia is sacked by Leonard Little, fumbled, it bounces around and picked up by Travis Fisher, who takes it all the way to extend their lead, 27-13. Detroit managed to kick a field goal and the Rams have the ball. Bulger throws on the move and it's picked off for his 2nd interception on the day. Detroit was only able to manage a field goal from it at the start of the 4th quarter. They did get the ball back. It's an 8-point game. They could potentially tie it here, and Jeff Garcia throws an interception. Bartell brings it back for the 2nd defensive score for the Rams. They're up 34-19. There is still time left in the game. A game isn't over till it's over, and Jeff Garcia decides to throw it deep, and it's picked off this time by Jeremetrius Butler. At this point in the game, both teams were playing hot potato with the ball as Bulger throws his 3rd interception this game. But don't worry, Jeff Garcia basically said you can have the ball back as Butler gets his 2nd interception on the day. And that's how the game would end. An exciting first half, but that second half unraveled really quick for the Lions. Once again, the defense played strong. The run game was disappointing last week, but I don't expect it to continue. And moving forward, Richie Incognito will be the starting left guard. Also, secondary has kind of been on fire the past 2 weeks, so let's hope it continues. Now, as usual, the wide receivers seem to be the strength of the team, getting praised like usual. But this week, Greg Williams doesn't seem too confident in his defensive line, while the secondary is talked up again, as it should be with the performance they've had. What I thought was interesting this week was the offensive coordinator and the defensive coordinator had some criticism for each other going into week 5. So let's get it started. Rams have the ball against the Packers and Bulger finds Holt, who zooms past for the first down. Same drive, past midfield, and Bulger throws to Hedgecock to get them deeper into Packers territory. The following play, Packers bring the heat and Bulger throws it down the middle where 5 Packers were covering for an interception. The Packers weren't able to do anything off the turnover, Rams near midfield, and Bulger somehow squeezes that pass in. Same drive in the red zone this time. The Packers bring a corner blitz to rush Bulger, who throws into the arms of Nick Collins. Breaks the tackle, and nobody is going to catch him as the Packers get the first points on the day with their bend but don't break defense. We move to the start of the second quarter. Rams ball, and Bulger either makes a boneheaded throw or dimes like these. They got back into field goal range and choose to run it instead of risking a turnover, forcing themselves to take the 3 points over none. Rams down 7-3. If you're wondering why we haven't seen much from the Packers, they weren't doing much. They would punt it to the Rams, good position for more points, and they're not throwing it. They would continue to run it, even if it wasn't effective. They just want the points. It could have been 12-7 right now. Instead, it's 6-7 Packers. And the Packers finally realize they need to do something. Favre finds Javon Walker, who was one missed tackle away from a touchdown. A play later, Favre has pressure in his face as he throws, and it's picked off by Tino Isamoa. He has one guy to beat, tackled at midfield. Not willing to throw another interception, Rams continue to run in Packer territory, and it works. They would end up kicking another field goal to end the half with the lead 9-7. They do start the second half with the ball, and Bulger finds Clark open on the drag route for the first. Bulger in this half of the field has been insane, throwing dots like this one to Kevin Curtis to get another first down. Problem is, when he's gotten into Packers territory, he throws ugly passes like this one. Blitz forces a terrible throw, but this time it isn't returned for a touchdown. Rams have it once again, and Bulger shows off his skill in the first half of the field with this laser to Clark. A play later, Packers bring the blitz, and Bulger throws the worst pass of the season for his 4th interception on the day. If there's one thing the Rams have done right, it's hold the Packers offense, but wear something down enough, it'll break. A few plays later, Favre throws a beautiful throw to Walker for the first. Then they hand it off to Davenport, who's brought down at the 1, and this play right here decides if it's a 1-point game or a 4-point game, and the Rams allow a touchdown. But they don't give up the 2-point conversion. The very first play after the touchdown, Bulger finds Torrey Holt wide open and nobody's going to catch him. It's a good thing they were in their own territory. They're back up top 16-13. The Packers now need to answer back on their drive. 3rd down, 2 more chances to keep the game alive. Favre throws deep to Walker, and the defender misses the tackle. They're not going to catch him. Packers are now back on top 20-16. Now back to the Rams. Very first play of this drive, deep in their own territory, and Bulger finds Dallas Clark, runs over a defender, open space, nobody going to catch him. They regain the lead 23-20. 4 touchdowns by both teams in less than a minute. Now the Packers have a chance again to reclaim the lead. Last time Favre threw deep on 3rd down, he does it again here, and he just overthrows Driver. The game is on the line. 4th down, Favre drops back, has time, throws the Driver, but tackled short of the first. And that's how this game would end. What a roller coaster. Terrible performance by both teams, but a spectacular minute by both as well. We're now 4-1 on the year.
The coach was showing his potential, though in the grand scheme of things, winning 3 consecutive games is a minor achievement. This was a great confidence builder for the coach, a small stepping stone towards being considered in the same league with coaches like Schuler.
I think we've both seen enough post-game meetings and pre-game meetings that I don't really need to show them anymore. It's all the same thing. They suggest players to start, they criticize or praise certain aspects of the team, and it seems like it's the same thing week after week. So from here on out, I'll just be doing the games. Something I've seen more in this Rams team the past 2 weeks, they've been getting to the quarterback. They put the Seahawks in a 3rd and long situation, and Hasselbeck just does an arm punt, and it's caught by Peter Warrick. Butler in coverage, but mistimed the jump, and Seattle gets the first touchdown in the game. Now the Rams have to answer back, and Bulger gives the ball back to Seattle in great field position. First play after the turnover, and Hasselbeck finds Jeremy Stevens to get them inside the red zone. A few plays later, no pressure, to the corner of the end zone, and touchdown by Darrell Jackson. Down by 2 touchdowns, and Bulger takes it himself to spark the team. A play later, Bulger, play action, throws on the move, is going deep to Dallas Clark, in between 2 defenders. Now in the red zone, Bulger has time in the pocket and throws a bullet to Owen Daniels, 2-2. Following play, Jackson gets stuffed at the line, but gets in for the touchdown. Seattle trying to find a way to extend their lead back to 14, and Lenny Walls has been great since returning from injury and changing from corner to strong safety. The Rams weren't able to get anything going with the turnover other than being able to pin them at the 1 with this punt. They had 2 safeties earlier this year, and they have 3 now. Jason Allen with a sack on the safety blitz. Now the Rams have a chance to gain the lead as Bolger finds Bruce for the first. Now in the second quarter, play action, Bolger throws deep and Kevin Curtis with the catch. A few plays later, inside the 10, and Falk gets the first down. Then they hand it to the fullback for the touchdown. They are now leading 16-14. Seattle trying not to go into panic mode after giving up the lead, and it was picked off by Tino Isamoa. The defense did their job, only giving up 3 points on the short field. The Seahawks haven't done much, but here Hasselbeck finds Jackson on the sideline for the first. Play later, play action, Hasselbeck throws deep to Jurevicius for a big gain. The drive stalls out and a field goal would make it a 2-point game again. The Rams would get a chance to get something, and instead of forcing a pass, they run it on third down, playing it safe, leading to a 55-yard attempt for the half, but it's no good. Now in the third, a chance to regain the lead, pocket collapsing, and Lenny Walls once again comes away with an interception, his second on the day. With a chance to come away with points, they run it on third down, but Falk coughs it up and Seattle recovers it. Still down by 2, Hasselbeck drops back and threads the needle to work for the first. Drive would end there with a 50-yard field goal to get them back up by 1. If it wasn't for the safety, it'd be a 3-point game as Jackson stiff arms a grown man and has one guy left to beat. Can he outrun him? No, he can't. We're now in the fourth quarter. Play action, Hedgecock is left wide open and he can't pull it in. That would lead to a Rams field goal to go up by 2. We skip just before the 2-minute warning, play action, throw, and incomplete. They would punt it, and for the game, Bolger sneaks it for the first. Well, technically the game isn't over yet. They stop them here on third down, forcing them to kick a field goal, and that safety is huge right now. Remember, they gave up a big pass in the beginning of the game, and they gave up another big pass here, but a penalty will bail out the defense. 3rd and 20, less than 10 seconds left in the game. They throw deep, and he got behind the defense, but just overthrown. This will be the final play of the game. 4th down, throw short, and that's how it'll end. They're now 5-1 on the year, and the last 3 games have been thrillers, but we've managed to pull a win in each one. I think we're due a loss soon. We're now off to week 8. We just had a bye week and I didn't know, so I spent an extra 40 minutes doing practices. That was fun. But it looks to have paid off as Gross forces a fumble on the opening kickoff and it's recovered by James Harrison. And on 3rd and 5, play action, Dallas Clark is open for the touchdown. Not the best start for the Chargers. They did eventually get into field goal range and should have gotten 3 points had it not been called back due to a hold. We skip forward to the end of the first. Breeze, play action, throws, and intercepted by Gross. He also forced the fumble on the opening kickoff. He brings this one back for a touchdown. Rams up 14-0. We skip forward to the final 2 minutes of the half and Bolger throws an interception. What's new? That would end up allowing San Diego to get their first points on the day. No hold this time. The half wasn't over though, as Bolger had plenty of time to scan the field and finds Dallas Clark over the middle, getting them into field goal range to get 3 points before the end of the half. In the third quarter, the Rams would tack on 3 more points to their score. San Diego wasn't able to do much in the quarter other than a field goal themselves, and at the start of the fourth quarter, on 4th down, Breeze in the pocket, throws over the middle, and it's knocked out. With great field position after the turnover on downs, the first play, Bolger would find Dallas Clark to get him into field goal range, leading to another 3 points, make it a 3-score game. San Diego unable to get anything going. Rams have it again. In the middle of the fourth, Bolger finds Clark for another big gain. A few plays later, Bolger, off his back foot, finds Clark over the middle, wide open for another touchdown. Rams have it once again near the 2-minute warning. Chargers bring the blitz, and Torrey Holt owns his man. You never want to leave him one-on-one, and just like that, it's 37-6. One problem the Rams have had this year was allowing big pass plays, and they somehow let McCardell get behind him, and nobody is going to catch him, but it's a little too late for the Chargers. We're now 6-1 on the year, but there's still time for a collapse. We survived a few games, but the season isn't over yet. It's week 9 and we played against Kansas City in the preseason, and it seems to have prepared us for this week as Jason Allen picks off Green on the opening drive. Rams with the short field to work with and a short throw to Kevin Curtis just short of the first down. Rams decide to go for it on the 4th down, getting it on a sneak. They actually had another 4th and inches on the drive and sneaked for it. Bulger 2 for 2. A play later, Bulger drops back, throws, and touchdown Kevin Curtis. They take the early 7-0 lead. It's now the Chiefs' chance to see if they can rebound after throwing that interception, and well, they throw another interception, this time with a cherry on top. Rams lead 14-0. We're still in the first quarter. Play action, Bulger to Clark for a big gain down near midfield. Remember, they have a running back by the name of Steven Jackson, and he's pretty good. A few plays later, Bulger pressure, throws, and caught by Kevin Curtis. Rams seem unstoppable right now, and Jones drew untouched into the end zone. They're up 21-0. We're now in the second quarter. Did I mention they have a pretty good running back? I mean, he fumbled it, but it was overturned, down by contact. And when they're not running it, they're somehow squeezing throws like this for first downs. And on a 3rd down, Bulger throws a bullet into tight coverage to get him into the red zone. Another 3rd down, last one was a bullet. This one much softer to old man Marshall for the touchdown. They're up 28-0. We move to the final 2 minutes of the first half. Kansas City in Rams territory, and well, they give it back to St. Louis. We're in the final minute of the first half, and instead of running the clock, Rams want more points as Torrey Holt catches this one. 3rd and long, and they will take the field goal. Of course not. Instead, Hedgecock avoids a tackle, plenty of space, and takes them all the way down to the 10. With 5 seconds left in the half, they make it 35-0. I'm not even going to bother showing the second half. We're almost at the hour mark. I think I can start cutting blowout. We're now 7-1 at the midway point. We start week 10 in the rain against Seattle and a rare doink off the upright. This gives Seattle a chance to thrive in their own environment, and well, Hasselbeck overthrows his receiver and it's picked off by Jason Allen. They can't do much other than a field goal attempt, but this time it's good. Down early, Seattle is marching near midfield. Hasselbeck throws and it goes right to the waiting arms of Dexter Coakley, who's rumbling and bumbling his way for pick 6. The Rams are up 10-0. Just wanted to point it out, 4th and 20, Seattle went no huddle and they turned it over on downs, which gave the Rams good field position on 3rd down. Bulger finds Kevin Curtis for the first. A few plays later, Bulger with plenty of time throws to Holt on the screen, and for once it worked, and they're now up 17-3. We skip to the bottom of the 3rd quarter. Seattle has been having a rough day and another interception here. Rams have a chance to blow the game away here with the score, and Bulger does what he does best. Interceptions. We skip to the 4th quarter, game still 17-3, and Hasselbeck finds his tight end. Is this where the comeback commences? 3rd down, and he throws another interception, this time to Tino Isamoa. The Rams would attempt a field goal after the turnover, missed one earlier, missed another one here. Seattle just looking to get something going. Hasselbeck throws deep and it's caught by Joe Jurevicius. Seattle went no huddle. Hasselbeck with time to throw, going deep again and caught by Jurevicius. It's 4th down now, last chance to get points, plenty of time. To the back of the end zone and somehow caught. It's 17-10. They need this onside kick. They're not going to get it, and that's pretty much the game. Another close game against Seattle, and it looks like a fun rivalry if I choose to continue the series. We're now 8-1 on the year, no losing season for us. Mark Bulger hasn't been having the best stretch of games, and the quarterback's coach decided to call it quits. I'm really not sure if it was because our trust level was low, but considering that me and my offensive coordinator, Jim Haslett's trust was pretty much non-existent and he's still here, I'm not sure what it is that caused him to leave. But we don't need him going into week 11. Why? Because our defense has been top tier, with Fisher getting an interception on the opening drive. A few plays later, inside the 30, Bulger throws to his fullback, the big back, to get to the 5. 1st and goal, and they hand it to Jackson, who gets maybe a yard. It's 2nd and goal, and Carolina brings pressure, and they get to Bulger for the sack. 3rd down, and a broken play. It looked to be a handoff to Jackson, but still almost scored. They decide not to go for it, taking the points, instead to go up by 3. Now at the end of the first quarter, Carolina has the ball and they decide to go deep again, and it's picked off again by Lenny Walls. Carolina was able to stop them to just a field goal. Rams lead 6-0. Skip to the final play of the half, still 6-0 Rams, and Bulger throws a prayer down the field and it's answered by Sean McDonald. He may be little, but he's got a big heart. Rams lead 13-0 going into the half. Rams will start the second half, momentum all on their side, and Bulger throws an interception. The duality of man. The Rams defense stops them to just a field goal, still up 13-3. Bulger hands off to Jackson, who breaks a tackle, stiff arms another defender into a defender, and he gone. They extend their lead 20-3. There's still plenty of time left to do something. Delhomme throws and it's picked off by Tino Samoa. And at this point, what do? Just run the ball. Jackson spins to the outside for the first. A play later, guess who it is? Avion Cason gets down to the 3. The next play, they give it to the big back for the touchdown. It's beginning to look like a blowout. Now there's still 3 minutes left, and Carolina at this point is playing for pride, and while they threw whatever pride they had left on that play, nobody's going to catch Walls. And remember when I said it looked like it was a blowout? I think it's a blowout. That's how the game would end. 34-3, got our 9th win on the year, our first winning season, and we still only have 1 loss.
The coach got victory number 9 of the year, and in the process secured his first winning season. This is an important achievement for a head coach, to be on the positive side of the win-loss column. Many coaches have experienced winning seasons, so he knew to keep his milestone in perspective, his next goal was to start delivering in the postseason.
Week 12, they take on the only team that has beaten them, the 49ers. We start midway through the first, and Alex Smith ticks off with it. Last time he broke off a big run, this time not so much. Next play, they hand it off to Barlow, who breaks through for the first. The Rams were already leading 3-0 before the start of the drive. Alex Smith throws an interception to Tino Samoa, who brings it all the way back to extend their lead 10-0. We're now at the end of the first quarter. Mark Bulger, with plenty of time in the pocket, throws deep to Torrey Holt, breaks a tackle, and nobody's going to catch him, and just like that, they're up 17-0. In the second quarter, 49ers not able to do anything. Rams controlling most of the game. Nice pass to Clark. Same drive, 1st and 15, pressure on Bulger, completed to Holt for his second touchdown on the day. It's now 24-0. Second half, Rams have the ball, and Bulger has plenty of time to throw. I can feel myself age as he rolls to his right, throws left, and that's what he does. That's what he does when he has time. We skip to the fourth quarter, play action. Bulger throws his second interception on the day. What's happening to him? Rams still lead 27-3, and Bulger just heaps this one up for his 3rd interception of the day. I ended up benching Bulger. Fitzpatrick is in the game, and he does this. The score is now 27-5 after the safety. The game isn't completely over as Lenny Walls intercepts this pass, and this has been a completely different game from the last time these two teams met. We won our rematch against the 49ers, and now I have to start thinking, what are we going to do with this passing game? Because it was terrible. It happened again. Our running backs coach this time has decided to just up and leave the team. We're 10-1. I think we'll survive without him. This week we take on the Arizona Cardinals, and we blew them away last time we played as Bulger finds Dallas Clark for the first touchdown on the day. He was definitely worth the trade. Now it's Arizona's chance to answer back. Warner is the quarterback. Last time it was McCown, and this deep pass is picked off by OJ Atagwe, brings it back past the 40. After the turnover, 4th down, Bulger takes off with it, but Daniel Jones it. A few plays later, 3rd down, Bulger to the back of the end zone, caught by Clark, but after a challenge, he was ruled out of bounds. The Rams chose not to go for it and kicked it to go up by 10. We go to the second quarter. Rams added another field goal, but a touchdown makes it a 1-score game, but they throw an interception. First play after the turnover, and Bulger finds Torrey Holt past the sticks. Same drive, drive, 3rd down. Bolger running out of time finds McDonald for the first. A play later, Bolger off his back foot, and this was called defensive PI. With a chance to make this a 3-score game, Bolger sails one in the end zone. They end up settling for a field goal, up 16-0. The Cardinals haven't really done much, but they're still only down by 2 touchdowns if they convert to 2 points, as Warner hits a big pass here. The following play, they hand it off to Ship, who drags the defender past the first. After a play, Warner rolls to his right and throws back to his left to Bryant Johnson for a touchdown. We move to the 3rd quarter, 3rd and long, plenty of time in the pocket. Bolger throws and it's picked off. There's no one in front of him. It's a foot race, but he doesn't get in. 1st and goal, play action. Warner rolls out, throws, and touchdown Arizona. Last time the Rams blew the Cardinals away. This time they're sticking around. Bolger throws deep and roll, doing his best to stick around Holt. They prevented a touchdown by the Rams, but they're okay doing chunk plays like these. A play later, they pitch it to Jackson, who runs over Roll. He's not going to prevent a touchdown this time. They create some breathing room, 23-14. The Rams would end up getting the ball back again. Bolger in the pocket, throws over the middle, and this would be called PI. 3rd down, same drive, they hand it off to Marshall, who breaks one tackle, jumps over another, and gets the 1st down. We're now on the 4th, same drive, 3rd down, and he finds Torrey Holt for the 1st down. 3rd down again on the same drive, plenty of time to throw, and finds Torrey Holt for the 1st. Again, 3rd down, and they sneak for the 1st. They're eating a lot of clock. I know you're tired, but 3rd down, play action, but this time they get the touchdown. That makes it a 16-point game again. They can still come back from this if they act fast. Warner throws an interception, and that's gotta be it. And on 3rd down, I know you've heard that a lot today, Avion Cason scores a touchdown. In what looked like a close matchup ends as a blowout. The Rams are looking scary right now. They're looking scary. We're now at the final 4 games of the year, up 6-0 against Chicago, 2 field goals, didn't think it was worth showing, and Kyle Orton throws an interception to Butler, who brings it back to give them a 13-0 lead. We do skip to the 3rd quarter, 16-0 Rams, and they go for it on 4th down, but they don't get it. The Bears have a chance to get the momentum here. Kyle Orton finds Justin Gage over the middle for the 1st. 2nd down, clean pocket. Kyle Orton finds Mushin Muhammad for the 1st. 2nd down, they hand it off to Cedric Benson, who powers his way to get them inside the 10. 2nd and goal, this time they hand it to Thomas Jones, who spins and gets in for the touchdown. Near the end of the 3rd, Rams ball, pressure almost gets there, but Holt gets the 1st. It's the same drive, 3rd down, play action, Bolger throws, and Dallas Clark makes the catch. The following play, the Rams run a draw, and Jackson squeezes through, has space in front of him, avoids a tackle, touchdown Rams. Now the Bears need to score here if they want to keep this a game, and Orton throws another interception. Jason Allen tries to stiff arm, but breaks the tackle anyways, and this will give the Rams a 30-7 lead. 2 minutes still left in the game on 4th down, and they try to run it with Orton. The Rams have the ball, and you think they run the clock, but nope, they're still passing. They get a PI to get inside the 10, and surely they're going to run it here. Play action, Bolger, Owen Daniels for another touchdown. This is the 4th straight game of 34 points or more. I'm actually upset that we lost week 2 because we could absolutely be undefeated right now. Almost done with the season, week 15 against the Oakland Raiders. They started the game off with 2 field goals, thanks to defensive stands by the Rams inside the red zone. St. Louis also put up 6 points themselves before the end of the half. Probably the slowest half in the season so far, but things did pick up midway through the 3rd when Mark Bolger found Isaac Bruce in double coverage to get into the red zone. The following play, they handed it off to Jackson, who gained 7 on the ground. On 2nd down, they hand it back to Jackson, gets great blocking and gets brought down short of the end zone. They then give it to Hedgecock, who penetrates his way through for the touchdown. Now can Oakland score to tie it back up? Collins over the middle, tipped and intercepted by Fisher. That would be a no. First play after the turnover, Bulger finds Holt over the middle for the first. Following play, another quick pass to Holt, who finds his way near the marker. Third down, quick pressure, Bulger throws it deep to the end zone and it's picked off and tackled in the end zone. But he fumbled it and it's picked up by Isaac Bruce for the score. And believe it or not, it was reviewed and determined it was a fumble. Rams up 20-6. We go to the bottom of the third. Oakland in trouble. Collins throws deep and it's picked off again by Fisher. The Rams at this point will probably look to take control of the game, and Jackson doesn't look like he wants to control it. He wants to end it. Taking this one all the way. Rams up 27-6. They would add one more field goal to end the game at 30-6. This defense is looking unbeatable right now, and they've secured the number 1 seed in the playoffs. Can anyone slow them down, let alone stop them? The season is already finished for us, and at this point we're playing for fun, and on the first play of the game, Butler picks it off. It did only lead to 3 points though. The second drive for Washington, play action, Ramsey throws deep and it's picked off by Jason Allen this time, who brings it past the 25. It again leads to just 3 points. It could be a lot worse. Their third drive of the game, Ramsey drops back, throws, and it's picked off for the third straight time. It has been a terrible start for Washington, but the Rams haven't really done much with the turnovers, and Bulger gives it right back to them with this interception. It's their fourth drive of the day, and Ramsey chucks it, and it's their fourth interception of the game. They've had 4 interceptions, but it has only led to 9 points for the Rams. We are now at the end of the first quarter, third and long. Bulger throws deep and finds McDonald to get them into the red zone. Ultimately, it would just lead to another field goal. Washington hasn't done anything all game, but they're just down by 12, and Ramsey finds his receiver, breaks the tackle, and this has to be the best play so far. A few plays later, third down, to keep the drive alive, Ramsey throws over the middle and it's picked off again, this time by Lenny Walls. That was the 5th interception by Ramsey, and Bulger finds Jackson on the wheel route, stiff arms the defender, and he's gone. This game couldn't have started any worse for Washington. The Rams would have the ball again, middle of the second quarter. Bulger goes deep and hits Holt in double coverage. This game has gone completely sideways for Washington, and Bulger goes deep again, but overthrown. There was a PI on the defense. Washington did hold out and force yet another field goal. With less than a minute left in the half, Rams ball. Bulger has plenty of time in the pocket, throws deep and hits Isaac Bruce in stride for a touchdown. The half isn't over yet. Rams looking to get a good punt return. They'll have about 30 seconds left, and he fumbles it, and Washington tries to scoop it, and well, they do. Ramsey has thrown 5 interceptions in this half, make it 6. Move aside, Nathan Peterman, there's a new sheriff in town. Last time the Rams scored on a big pass play. They try it again and give it right back, and that's how the first half will end. Now we start the second half. Bulger throws under pressure and it's picked off. He's got nobody in front of him but chased down at the 10. Like the Rams, they weren't able to get it in, forced to only a field goal. Rams have it now, high snap, pressure getting there, and it's intercepted again. Sean Taylor. First play after the turnover, Ramsey drops back, throws, and that's his 7th interception on the day. And this one is going all the way to the end zone. Jason Allen was worth that first round pick. Later in the third, Rams have the ball, play action, Bulger throws to Daniels to get near the first. Second down, play action again, throws to Dallas Clark, this time for the first. After the PI on defense, Mark Bulger floats one to his fullback Hedgecock, who thrusts his way into the end zone. Last time I showed Washington punting it, the Rams fumbled it. This time a bit different. A fair catch interference would give them great field position. Now they're near midfield, plenty of time. Bulger throws over the middle and finds McDonald for the first. The drive would stall out and, well, another 3 points. At this point, Washington is down 43 points. They're not going to come back, but they're going to try and get some big plays, and it's picked off for the 8th time. The Rams have been able to move the ball on Washington recently, and they go deep again to Isaac Bruce, who somehow catches it. They're now at the 10-yard line after a face mask, and Bulger finds Holt for another score. We're now at the end of the third quarter, and Ramsey throws his 9th interception of the day and the 2nd returned for a touchdown. The Rams have the ball at the start of the 4th after a 3-and-out. They go deep again, and it's caught. There was a fumble, but it was overturned. After the review, Bulger, clean pocket, throws to Dallas Clark and gets them close to the 10. Now, 3rd and 9, play action. Bulger throws to the corner of the end zone and pass interference. At the 1-yard line, what do? Bulger sneaks it in. Washington was actually driving down the field. 4th down, Ramsey throws and it's picked off for the 10th time today. The Rams are completely dominating. Bulger play action throws and it's picked off by Washington. Has some blockers, outrun Bulger, and that's their first touchdown on the day. Washington is down 67-10 and they decide to do an onside kick and it bounces around, but don't get it, leading the Rams to kick another field goal 70-10. And believe it or not, down by 60, Washington finally decides to wake up with a big pass here. They go no huddle. Portis gets blown up, Ramsey over the middle and caught. They continue to go no huddle. Ramsey throws a bullet into the end zone for a touchdown. There's only 19 seconds left in the game. I could have ended it here, but I throw it deep and it's caught by, well, Isaac Bruce. And with this field goal, it would break the record of 72 points in a game. That's how that one would end. Do you know who the previous record holder of the most points in a game belongs to? Washington. It's the final game of the season, taking on the Vikings to see if we can finish 15-1, and this might be more difficult than we thought. Already at midfield after that pass, Culpepper finds his fullback open to get another first down. 3rd down, same drive, and they run a draw up the middle to get the first. The following play, they pitch it to Mo Williams, who has room and gets 8 on the play. We're now in the second quarter, play action, and Culpepper takes off with it, and it's for the touchdown. It's now the Rams' chance, and he pitched to Jackson, stiff arms the defender, and almost made the last man miss. Near midfield, play action, Bulger throws over the middle to Holt to get them past midfield. Next play, they pitch it to Avion Cason, who's got getaway from everyone but that guy's speed. A couple of plays later, they give it to Jackson to get them inside the 5, and 2nd and goal, they hand it off. No, they throw it, and touchdown Rams. The big man, Orlando Pace, with the touchdown. We're now in the second half, still a 7-7 game. Bulger hoping to find that magic he had from last week, and it's picked off by Darren Sharper. He has a blocker, avoids the tackle, outruns everyone. I hate that guy. The Rams now find themselves down for the first time in a long time, and remember that magic I was talking about? Well, he found it, deep to Kevin Curtis to tie the game at 14. Near the end of the third quarter, 3rd and 20, and that magic they found on the last drive, well, Bulger still has it as he finds Kevin Curtis wide open behind the defense to regain the lead. It's now the Vikings' turn to answer back. Culpepper throws deep, and it's picked off by Jason Allen, who serpentines through the offense and will extend their lead. The Vikings were up 14-7 at one point and have allowed 21 unanswered points. It's another interception. It's a foot race, and that's going to be 28 unanswered points. It's the 4th quarter, 4th down. They go for it, and they don't get it. At this point, they could just run the ball and end the game, but if you're still watching, you know that's not going to happen. Following the big play, Bulger finds Holt over the middle for another touchdown, and that's how this one would end. We're 15-1. I'm thinking everyone is going to be afraid to play us in the playoffs. With the season over now, I won Comeback Coach of the Year. I didn't even know I was making a comeback. I also got Defensive Coach of the Year. That one made sense. We also had other awards like Jason Allen for Rookie of the Year, Torrey Holt was NFC Wide Receiver of the Year, Alex Barron somehow won Best Offensive Lineman, while Leonard Little earned Best Defensive Lineman, Allen also got Best Defensive Back. Mark Bulger ended up getting over 3,000 yards passing, 29 touchdowns, and 39 interceptions. Believe it or not, that's not the most I've thrown in a football season. I had 50 in Madden 09 once. Steven Jackson got over 1,000 on the year, and Folk had some touches. I really thought Jones-Drew was going to be a good change of pace back, but Kason had put him to shame. I couldn't get Holt over 1,000 yards, and that makes me sad, but at least the wealth was spread around pretty well behind him. Leonard Little had 18 sacks, and nobody was even close to him, which makes sense because he was the best lineman. While Allen and Butler got over 10 interceptions each, the defense absolutely carried the team. The owner did come and talk to me and told me I won Coach of the Year, and I think it was obvious that I would win it at this point.
The coach received the Coach of the Year award for the first time in his career. This award symbolized all of the effort that he had put into the job. His passion, focus, and determination were unmatched, and many said that it was his attitude and ability to get the most out of his players that proved to be the key to his team's success. The coach had a defense that could succinctly be described in 3 words: dominating, tenacious, and unbeatable. The coach finally crafted the shutdown mentality of these men to create the stingiest defense in the league. They made offenses tremble and left coordinators puzzled. The result? Leading the league in total team defense.
Funny enough, our first game is against the Vikings in the divisional round, and they're near midfield already. On another third down, same drive, Culpepper finds Troy Williamson for the first down. Another third down, they hand it on a draw to Moore, but he doesn't get it this time. But it does lead to the first point of the day, Vikings up 3-0. It's the Rams' turn to strike back. Bulger throws it up for grabs, and Kevin Curtis somehow makes the catch, and I don't even know what to say. The offense is boom or bust. Now can the Vikings do what the Rams did, and Culpepper under pressure throws and intercepted? But fortunately for them, it would just lead to 3 points for the Rams. The Vikings have had success on third down. Culpepper runs with it, throws to his fullback, outruns a tackle, breaks another tackle, and brought down across midfield. After the pass, they hand it to Mo Williams, who gets great blocking and the first. The drive did stall out, leading to just another field goal. Now the Rams have a chance to make this a 2-score game. Bulger with a pump, throws deep, Isaac Bruce with the catch on the sideline. A play later, play action, Bulger over the middle to Bruce for the first. Now inside the red zone, they hand it off to Jackson, who wiggles his way inside the 10. 3rd and goal, Bulger throws to the end zone on the sideline. What a wonderful catch to Marshall on the wheel route. Close to the 2-minute warning, Rams have the ball. Bulger throws on the move, and it's picked off by Antoine Winfield. Last time they scored a touchdown, this time Jackson makes the save. First play after the turnover, throws into the end zone, and it's picked off by Dexter Coakley. Vikings do get the ball back with a minute to go, and Culpepper threads this needle for the first. Vikings are trying to make this a 1-score game again, and Culpepper throws, it's dropped, and into the hands of Jeremetrius Butler. That's also the second time an injury has occurred, and like the first one, it was only for a few plays. We skip to the 4th quarter, same score. Culpepper decides he wants to run and gains the first. The following play, Culpepper has plenty of time, throws deep, and caught by the fullback. Culpepper has decided to put the team on his back, and it's been a rough game, and runs with it again for the first. They're technically in the red zone right now. Culpepper finds his receiver, runs down the sideline, and gets pushed out. It's 4th and goal. Culpepper play action, easy touchdown, and that's how the game would end. The Vikings tried, but in the end, they just couldn't get it done, and we move on to the NFC Championship game.
The coach had gotten his initial taste of playoff victory. Only 12 teams gain entry into the postseason. As competitive as the NFL is, it says a lot about your team when they reach that point. Winning in the playoffs keeps your championship dream alive for one more week. Another chance to get closer to your goal, hoisting up the Lombardi Trophy and showing the world that for this year, you were the best.
We're here in the NFC Championship game. McNabb, Owens, and they forgot about Travis Fisher. Intercepts the ball, breaks the tackle, and gets the first touchdown in the game. Philadelphia would retaliate with a field goal of their own to make it 7-3. On the ensuing kickoff, Jones-Drew is returning it, plenty of space, and he fumbles it. After a challenge, it was confirmed to be a fumble, which I don't think it should have been, but this defense is built different and forces a field goal to make it 7-6. And on the ensuing kickoff again, Jones-Drew returning it, has tremendous blocking, and he should have taken it all the way but can't avoid the last defender. The Rams team is kind of angry after that fumble. Bulger throwing a laser in double cover. The following play, Bulger with pressure finds Curtis over the middle for another first. After the start of the second quarter, Bulger with plenty of time finds his fullback for the first. A play later, they hand it off to Steven Jackson, who goes in untouched. We now go to the final 2 minutes, and the Rams were able to kick a field goal not once but twice to have a 20-6 lead going into the second half. Time is running out for Philadelphia. Those Super Bowl aspirations are fading away, and that interception by Lenny Walls isn't going to help them. It would only lead to a field goal, but it is now a 3-score game. We skip to the final 2 minutes of the game. It's pretty much over. A first down ends it. A touchdown really ends it, and PI gets called on Philadelphia here. 1 yard away, and they try to sneak it with Bulger, and it doesn't really matter because the game is over. And with that, we're now on our way to the Super Bowl. Year one is coming to an end, and it'll be on the biggest stage of them all. A Super Bowl rematch after 5 years, it created a dynasty, and on the first drive of the game, it's intercepted by Travis Fisher. This defense is legit. First play after the turnover, quick pass to Holt to get into field goal range. Second and short, they hand it off to Jackson, who jukes his way past the first. A play later, they hand it off to Cason to make it an easier third. Third and short, excellent protection in the pocket. Bulger throws to his right, and Holt makes the catch. A play later, inside the red zone, Bulger throws to his left, this time to get them inside the 10. Third and short, can they get the first down again? Bulger throws it into the dirt, but it was ruled a backwards pass, recovered by New England. The Rams did challenge the call. Could this be the tuck roll 2.0? The play would stand, and it's New England's ball. With another opportunity, Brady off his back foot finds Deion Branch. They have a third down on the drive. Great protection. Brady to the right finds Troy Brown for the first. A play later, Brady quick throws to his fullback Faria to get close to the first down. On third down, play action, Brady moves to his right, throws deep, and it's picked off. His second on the day, second of this quarter. Lenny Walls has one guy to beat but can't outrun Corey Dillon. Rams have a good chance to get some points here. Bulger finds Clark to get them into the red zone. Third and long in the shotgun, Bulger throws off his back foot to the end zone, and guess who it is? Torrey Holt, one of the big names from the greatest show on turf. New England did go 3 and out, giving the ball back to the Hedgecock to run for a first. We now start the second quarter. Rams up 7-0 as Jackson makes the catch and pass the first down. They now have a third down on the drive. Bulger, standing on the logo, finds Holt to keep the drive going. One thing I haven't talked much about, Rams have had great protection as Bulger finds Clark to get into the red zone. They do have another third down. This time they hand it off to Marshall Faulk, who can't get the first down. That would lead to a field goal from the Rams to go up 10-0. All New England needs to do is focus on getting points here. They're down only by 10, and they're close to field goal range. The following play, they hand it off to Dillon, who gets into field goal range. They didn't quite get the first down, inches away. Great protection for Brady, giving him time to make the pass. Patriots have a third and long on the drive. Brady throws to the flat, and it's picked off by Travis Fisher, who had the first interception on the day. He now has his second and the first returned for a touchdown. Rams up 17-0. We start the third quarter. Rams ball pitch to Avion Cason. Spins out of a tackle. He's outrunning everyone, but the last defender has the angle and brought down inside the red zone. It's third down. They do a draw to Falk up the middle, but tackled short, but a face mask would extend the drive. It's now third and goal, and they hand it off to Falk, and guess what? Another member of the greatest show on turf gets a touchdown. Rams up 24-0. Patriots are in panic mode, down by 24. Brady throws another interception, 3 on the day for Fisher, and his second return for a touchdown. The game is pretty much over here as Brady just chucks it up to his guy. Second down, pocket collapsing, Brady throws on the move. Branch came back for it, but inches short of the first. Third and inches in the shotgun, looks like a screen to Troy Brown, but Brady throws deep and knocked it down. Fourth and inches, Brady in the pocket, Little forces the pass and incomplete. I think it's fair to say the game is over. Rams up 31-0, and they're still throwing dimes down the field. I said it before, but the protection has been outstanding as Bolger throws another touchdown to, guess who? Another member of the greatest show on turf, Isaac Bruce. The revenge has been completed. Actually, not entirely completed. Leonard Little wanted to put cherry on top. That is it. That's the end. We won the Super Bowl. Whoever you think you are, I am. It took 47 hours to get to this point, and I honestly can't believe I did a full season. But we did, and it feels so good to do it in my favorite team's stadium against the team I hate the most. And that's it for the video. Do I plan on doing a second season? Not anytime soon. I'm burnt out right now from making content like this, but I do plan on doing more similar content to the NFL retrospective I did earlier. Is this series over? Well, yeah, never say never.
The coach has been described as tenacious and consistent, but after the Super Bowl, we could finally call him a champion. This was a big celebration for his team and the city that loved him. This was a colossal triumph in his career as an NFL head coach, and a momentous step in his quest to become the greatest coach of all time.